Welcome back to our Rovers Walk. At the time of recording, it's one question on the minds. Are we getting Ismael or are we getting Wagner? We'll get the panel's view on both of those possible appointments in a second. Plus, what's going on with Hedges and his recent performances. We're looking at Blackburn's March fixtures and also making our predictions as to how many points out of 15 Blackburn will get. And at the end of the video, we're asking our fans here, which side would they love to see relegated from the division this season? Stay tuned for that. If you've not come across the channel before, welcome. We've got Tom Kay, Mark Whittle, Jason Stanley and Harry Nolan back with us as our regular panelists to discuss the last 7 days of Blackburn Rovers. And it feels like a soap opera, guys, I'm going to be honest. Last week we were talking about Steven Gerrard, and now it feels like we've downgraded from a potential Champions League winner to some very meh options. Let's run through it though. But I hope you're all well and safe back from Swansea. This is the 30th week. 30 weeks we've been talking about Blackburn Rovers. So have a heart and drop us a like because it's taking its toll on all of us. Right, Tom. Let's talk about the options then. Shall we ahead of us? First of all, we hear that Blackburn obviously don't have much money and can only offer a certain amount to attract a certain manager. First of all, your reaction to reading and hearing that as a fan.
I mean, the rumour mill has been rife for the last week with names being almost pulled out of a hat. Every single day a new name is thrown in. And as Jason and I were chatting yesterday about this, nothing's come out from the club. So Twitter and all the journalists kind of go into overdrive, and us as the fans are almost in the dark, and we don't really know what to believe. It's very, flavour of the month at the moment. So obviously Wagner and Ismael has come out yesterday. Prior to that, it was Gary O'Neill, it was Steve Hooper, it was Rob Edwards. There's been names all over the place, and every single name keeps getting kind of batted away. And then obviously again another rumour comes out that Blackburn only are preparing to pay £600,000 a year. Which is not as much as like £800,000, which some of the top teams are going to pay, and the Yankees don't want to fork out enough money. Again, you don't know where this figure's come from. There's no concrete factual evidence behind this. It's just rumours. So the fact we seem to have got somebody in, I don't really know too much about Ismael, to be honest. I've done a bit of research today about him and his style of play, but I think us as the fans, we need to be kind of kept more in the loop, and I think Blackburn needs to be more transparent with this because rumours can quickly spiral and the fan base can quickly turn because we're not really sure what the hell's going on. But I think he sounds like, quite a credible manager, best of a bad bunch, really. Depends. I know he's got quite a good start with Barnsley, and he was quite direct with his heavy pressing style of play. But then I believe, like Albion, he was a lot more reserved and defensive. So I think you kind of need a bit of both with that. I don't really know what we're going to get. I'm still quite bitter with John Eustace, but hopefully someone will be in the next 48 hours. So when we play Norwich at the weekend, we've got a manager in the dugout.
Okay. Before we get into talking about either of the managers, let's just skip back a bit, Mark, shall we? Last week we were talking about David Lowe, and this week Tommy says, well, the Swansea game clears one thing up. We now need a manager in ASAP. Lowe now can't take us to the end of the season. Everything was wrong today. The team selection, game management, performance, effort levels, not one single positive to take other than the game's over, which I think is great. Things have changed drastically in the last 7 days because we did have some fans saying last week, look, take our time, he's doing well, he's got these results, yeah. we can may even keep him on for the end of the season, but that performance was so bad that not one single fan has said that this week. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a fair point, to be honest. I know we said last week when we were on here that Rovers have got to get the right man, but obviously, if that right man's not available, then obviously take the time and stick with David Lowe. But I think the manner of Saturday's defeat and just how bad it was, like most fans have alluded to, and there just seemed a complete lack of leadership. I think it is desperate not desperate, but yeah, I think we do have to get somebody in now, and I think somebody will be in this week ahead of the Norwich game. Listen, let's not take anything away from David Lowe. I mean, the 2 games against West Brom and Plymouth were really, really good results. But sometimes with a caretaker manager, who's not got that much experience of being a number one. I think we just need somebody in. Hopefully the right man, hopefully somebody that can get us going for these last 12 games of this season and pushes into that top six. But yeah, I think obviously the manner of Saturday's game and the tweet you just read out then, I think it was quite well summed up, to be fair. And I think just how all of us feel, there was no positives from it at all, and it was just bad from start to finish.
Okay. All right, then let's get into both of them then, Harry. Let's give you Ismael to talk about, if that's all right then. Crisis Moses, in response to this being posted, said, well, as you can see there, no effing thank you. And our Watford fans, highlighted here by its hazard, I'm sorry to hear that if you get Ismael. And so we spoke to our Watford fans earlier, who, are surprised to see him ever get a championship job again, given the disastrous job he did at Watford. To be fair, he did take Barnsley, I think, to the playoff final or the playoff semi-finals. I can't remember which one it was. But what's your reactions to Valerien?
Well, he wouldn't have been. I don't think he'd have been anyone's first choice, given the names that have been flown around. But obviously, the goalposts have changed, given the finding out that with what we've got to work with, certain managers aren't going to want to take that kind of pay package. What I do know about him is that when he's done well, he's made teams sort of really solid. He's made teams hard to beat. I mean, that's the great thing about that Barnsley team, that why they did so well. They didn't have any standout players as such. I think they got relegated the season after. So they didn't have a team full of great players, but he knew how to get a team playing to their strengths, and he made them really difficult to beat. They were direct. So kind of similar to the way that Eustace liked to play at times. So it might not be too big of a transition like it was when Eustace came in for Thomason. And to give Ismael a bit of credit, I think that West Brom move was destined to fail. I remember it happening at the time because the way that West Brom have played and always wanted to play, they've always wanted to be a progressive, free-flowing, possession-style team in this division. And Ismael was just not that at all. I mean, the Barnsley team couldn't be less like what that. So it just seemed like a complete wrong move for him at the time. Watford, just didn't work out. But we've had this before when certain managers haven't worked out in clubs, and then in the right case, right scenario, it just clicks. So I don't know. I can't claim to know that much about him, and I can't claim to be sort of like, I guarantee that this will work, because who knows what we're going to get with this guy. But I'm just happy to have someone in the door. I think I think fans were a bit reactionary at the time with Lowe's results. We had two really good results. I mean, Plymouth were were a good run of form, and the West Brom game was a great result. But with caretaker managers, I feel like there's only a matter of time before that sort of facade starts to slip, and you realise, you need to get someone a bit more permanent who has that kind of experience at leading a team, and he has got experience of getting teams into the playoffs. So, I mean, we're going to stay positive for the time being, because we've got to. We don't want to turn him before he's even walked through the door. But I don't really know what to expect, but I was staying positive.
Okay. We'll talk about Wagner next then, Jason. Ricky says, I don't want neither of them, but sad to say they're probably the best that we can attract, which is, I think, it's a sad indictment on where Blackburn are as a club, isn't it? To say that, we're limited to how much we can pay a manager of a former Premier League winner, of a founder of the Football League, one of the oldest clubs in England, and here we are, scrabbling around at what feels like the bottom of the barrel of managers.
I think what it does, it tells a story of how far we fell, done it. It's a manager's a big part of a team, and if we want to bounce back to the Premier League, like it's so-called Venky's aim is to get us back up there, the one thing they should be doing is putting the money in the pockets to pay for the right man to get us there. I think there's an argument to say we've possibly got the best squad, or you could challenge for the playoffs this year than we've had for a while. The spirits are high. We've got strength in depth. The couple of the January signings, I'm wondering where they fit in, because we've got that many players each position. And I think they should be spending the money to get the right man in. You know, it's a 12-game season. Let's be honest. That's where we're at. Someone comes in, they get a free crack at the playoffs with 12 games left. Spend a bit of money. Give someone a temporary contract till the end of the season. You know, spend a bit more than you really want to spend just instead. Let's just come in, do the 12 games. We'll review it all at the end of the year if you want to go off your pot. Because I don't think either Wagner or Ismael are the right man. I just don't. I don't think they fit our style for me. I think I don't like Gary O'Neill. I think what to miss out on a couple $100,000 a year, to miss out on the right man, is it worth scrimping and saving? I just think now's the time to spend the money. You know, they have spent money on players in the last 2 windows. What's a couple $100,000 between getting the wrong man and the right man for me? So that's my opinion on it.
Okay. A word on Wagner. Sorry, I forgot to ask you that bit as well.
Wagner's not someone I know. Neither of them do. To be fair, I don't know a lot against either. And Mark and Tom will tell you, I have been doing my research in managers. As the names come up, I'm on there doing my research, and you know, I've not done it on these two because the names come up that quick. These days, being the only 2 left in the race. I never really did my research. All the others I've done my research on. So, and I know he was a. Nobody seems inspired by either of them. Because I've used social media to try and find out a little bit about them in the today, and no one seems inspired by him. And there's people who has done the research. So for me, I don't think either man. I don't know enough about Wagner. I think Tom did well. Harry did well with Ismael because he knew more about him than I did. So.
Okay. Here's how social media reacted to both. Relation to Ismael, Perlin says absolutely no. Apart from the season that he took from Barnsley to the playoffs, he's failed miserably everywhere. And then about Wagner, Steve says the most boring manager with indecipherable tactics and slow, ponderous possession-based football. 3/4 of the season with him last time around was an awful experience. I think that was actually about Ismael as well, wasn't it? Sorry, I missed the wrong button there. We'll come back to this next week because an announcement is probably going to be made before we even get to release this video, and this conversation will be redundant. But in the comments, let us know what you think. Right. Dare we talk about Hedges, or is that going to send you all off onto a rant? We could have picked all 11 from that Swansea game, couldn't we? But there was one player, Tom, that was coming out in social media comments saying, "I just don't get why he's been selected."
We've been saying this for a long time. Sorry to cut in there, but we've been saying this for a while with Hedges. When he signed for Rovers, he had some pedigree, and on that left-hand side, he was doing well. But he's so slow. He always cuts back. He'll pass the ball backwards. He's not direct. I don't really know what he offers to the team. And when you see someone like a Carbo, I know we've only had him a couple of weeks on the bench. When he comes on, he's a defender's worst nightmare because he's quick and he will just run at the defenders. And if you're a defender, that's the one thing you hate, because you make a mistake and you're in the area and you foul that man, it's going to be a penalty. And I think he gets the fans off the seat, something that Hedges does not do. And I know he's been kind of the a favourite of other managers gone by. But I think this year, I know his contract's up in the summer, and I wouldn't be renewing it because he's a nice enough bloke. I'm sure he's one of the seasoned, the veterans. He's 29. We haven't got many. He's been there a while now, but I think he doesn't offer anything really on that wing. And like I said, I think you put me on the left hand side. I'd do a better job than Hedges, I think, because just have a go. And there's nothing worse as a fan sitting there thinking, oh God, here we go again. He's cut back, he's lost the ball. It's slow, and there's nothing worse than watching slow players, because all you want to see is having a go, running at the opposition, and just be direct as a winner. And he's got none of that. So I don't know what he's doing in the team.
He's a winger that doesn't wing, isn't it? Yes. That's what he is. Yeah. He's a winger that doesn't behave like a winger. He's like playing with 2 left backs. That's what it feels like. We're so solid defensively down that side, but then the amount of times we were trying to get forward and there's just nobody on that left side. We're forced to go down the right because there's nobody over the left side.
that's when Carbo comes on, and he's the opposite of Hedges because he'll have a go. And if you lose the ball having a go, you don't mind that because you're trying something. But if Hedges, he just doesn't offer anything really, no attacking threat, and I think that's what you need.
I'd take it further. I don't think he acts like a. He's not only does he not act like a winger, he don't act like a footballer. Like it's generally it's so frustrating. I mean, I get it, he works hard, but like I think 7 goals in 120 games or something like that. It's just not.
Yeah,
you don't pick a winger on the defensive qualities, do you? You know, that's my opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, anything to add before we?
There's no follow up with that. Absolutely,
he can't run. Okay, yeah. I mean, he wasn't the only one to. What's happened there? Sorry, the low experiment is over for me. Shocking team selection. Buckley should have started. Hedges and Vyman were awful, like running in sand. There we go. Sums that up. Right then, let's have a look. Then let's move forward then and look at what's coming up for Blackburn in the next month or so. Because we're in March. Can you believe? I mean, my God, where has this season gone? Right. My screen's gone. Is that blue on there? I can't even read that. Right, Harry. Norwich next, if you can see it. We'll come on to that Derby game in a minute. And Stoke away, Cardiff at home, and Portsmouth away. So this is a nice little run of teams near the bottom, apart from Norwich, obviously, who are fighting for their lives. This is your moment to really kind of put a gap between you and Coventry and Bristol City, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really favourable run on paper, but the thing about Rovers, the thing I've felt with Rovers for the past maybe 5 years or so, is that we tend to do quite well against the teams higher up in the table, and then when we go to play teams like Portsmouth and Cardiff, we end up losing. But I mean, yeah, there's real potential that if we can get a new manager to come in, hit the ground running. I mean, I'm sure there's still confidence in the squad. I think there's a lot of the squad that want to sort of prove themselves after the thing that happened with Eustace. I think that quite bound the squad together and motivated them. So if that can all come into play with the right manager and get them all fired up, then there's a real good potential to get, I don't know, the 12 points on the board from those 5 games. If you're really optimistic. But yeah, I mean, I have just seen the sort of 6 games that West Brom have got, who is one of the main teams that we're sort of competing against, and they've got a really difficult run. They play, I think, all 4 of the sort of big 4 above them. So yeah, I mean, it's a real sort of killer point in the season if we want to make some ground and set a little different distance between us and the sort of the chasing pack. Then now's the time to do it. But like I said, it's a great run on paper, but football's not played on paper, unfortunately. And Rovers don't always end up on the right side of these results when we win.
Jason, Derby go to Middlesbrough this weekend and likely not to win there. So that means by the time you visit them, Eustace will still be looking for his first win. And I don't like the way that this narrative is going to pen out here, but it's going to be the most Rovers thing ever, isn't it? To rock up to Pride Park and hand John his first 3 points.
Yeah, all the Derby fans have to do is be patient. It's coming. Don't worry, that win is coming. It's just the most Rovers thing ever. You see it coming. But a word on Derby, they just look... We're whinging about Hedges. They've got a front 4 like that. Do you know what I mean? They've nothing up front. They just don't look like scoring. So 3-0 Derby, you know it's coming. You just know they're going to have an absolute pearl. John, you just will probably come on and stick one in off a corner or something just to absolutely rub it in.
More like Nyambe scoring.
80th minute.
Nyambe. Just say it now, Nyambe, 90th minute.
Yeah. I think somebody put before Nyambe is the only player, or the longest player to an outfield player to score in the Championship. And I think somebody said, right, that's Derby.
If he doesn't score against us, he breaks that record.
He's had 1 shot since 2013. No, 2023, sorry. Since 2023. He's had 1 shot on goal.
One shot in 10 years.
1 shot in 2 years.
It's
happening. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. Thanks for that. Mark, just as a side point, Preston play Burnley in the FA Cup this weekend. Who do you want to win that?
Got to be Preston, yeah. Don't want
Good.
Burnley doing anything. So, I mean, I won't have any interest in that game whatsoever. But yeah, I think Preston win, I think.
Good.
Hey, all
Good.
right, mate. You look like you were sick a bit then when you said that.
just checking. Our Burnley fans reckon that the recent Hannibal Osmajevic has brought Blackburn and Burnley together as dislike of Osmajevic, but clearly not. It's just checking. Good. We're back to normal. Right. The final topic then this week is which team would we love to see get relegated from the division? Great to see Blackburn not included, of course, in this, as they would have been this time last year if we've been asking this question. Which fan base are we sick of? And it's not who you think will go down, Tom. It's going to be who would you like to see drop? Who would it be for you?
It's got to be Derby. I think just what's happened with John Eustace. Had it not been this going on with Eustace at the moment, I would have said Stoke. And I know all the West Brom fans have all said Stoke as well. But I just think they're horrible. And they've been treading water for a while now in the Championship. And I think it's about time they made the drop down to League One.
Mark? Oh, have we lost Mark? We might have lost Mark. Jason?
I'm going to go someone different because Derby's an obvious one for us over recent weeks. I'm going to go Hull City. I think they seem to spend a lot of money. I don't like the fan base. I think they just seem to turn vile every time we play them. I have no idea why. And I don't like playing them because they always beat us. So I'm going to say Hull City.
Okay. Harry?
Well, it's obviously Derby. I mean, it would just be the greatest karma if Eustace got relegated as soon as they can. And I actually do quite like Derby before Eustace came in anyway. And being a Midlands boy, it's a more local away day for me. But bar that, probably from a selfish perspective, maybe Plymouth. I mean, we never win there. And I mean, I'm not quite as northern as some of these boys, but it's some trek to get to that ground. It's an absolute horrible play. And I went down there and we lost 3-0 when they were first up, and that was a horrid away day all round. So yeah, they're an inconvenience. Get them out.
Okay. Mark, we lost you there for a second, but who do you want to see the back of?
Yeah, well, I lost connection, but as soon as I saw what was coming up, it was straight away Derby. So I'm sure everybody else has gone with that. But yeah, Derby with that there for sure. Let's get rid of him as soon as possible.
Right. Let us know in the comments who you would, whether you agree with it. I'm sure you all will. Right. Good luck against Norwich then. We'll catch you back here in 7 days' time to review that. And next week, of course, we're looking ahead to the Derby game, which should be interesting. See you then for that.
Cheers, guys. See you later.